Today, I am here with Catalina Cantor and Shikhar Agnihotri. Catalina, she's a graduate in literature with honors and has a PG in cultural management and a master in education. She works at the ADR Theosophical Academy at the international headquarters of the Theosophical Society, ADR. She's a member of the TS since 2006. She came into touch with theosophy very early due to her parents, Rosa and Ramiro. She is a translator and editor of the Colombian magazine Selección Teosófica. She has published articles in many international magazines in English, Spanish, and Italian. She has lectured on theosophy, art, and education in India, America, Colombia, Peru, and Brazil, as well as in international online meetings. And she's also an active participant of international movements, the international movement of young theosophists. Shikhar Agnihotri, he has a BA in nautical science, and he voluntarily retired from shipping to take the inner journey. He joined the Theosophical Society in 2008 due to inspiration from his mother, Vasumati Agnihotri. He is a national lecturer of the Indian section of the Theosophical Society from 2016. And international speaker of the TS from 2019. He has conducted study camps, seminars, youth camps, public lectures on theosophical subjects and holistic health all over India in various international forums. He is the founder member of Pragya TS Lodge and Maitri TOS group in Lucknow. He has published articles in international magazines such as The Theosophist, The Indian Theosophist, Wake Up India, the magazine of the French, and the magazine of the Spanish section of the Theosophical Society. Presently, he is a volunteer at the International Theosophical Headquarters of ADR, India. In May of 2020, Shikhar and Catalina started a YouTube channel called Pragya Studio to make theosophical teachings accessible to as many as possible in many languages. So welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And it's truly a pleasure.
Thank you, Erica. The pleasure is all ours, and it's an honor to be with you on such a prestigious channel of European School of Theosophy. And hearty greetings and good wishes to all the subscribers and the viewers of your channel from ADR and India.
Yes, for us it's a motive of happiness be able to share this time with you and all the people that is watching.
For me, it's wonderful to be here with you. You know, I have met Shikhar for the first time in 2019 in Varanasi, while Catalina, I had met her many years ago at the Theosophical Society in Brazil. Could you please explain to us what is this beautiful temple shrine that you have just there?
Well, actually, it is our Diwali. We made like a Diwali shrine because we are now, today is the last day of the 5 days of Diwali celebration. So we made like a ecumenical temple because we have Buddha, we have Mother Mary, Ganesha, of course, that is very important in this festival, and Hanuman, and this one, Lakshmi, Goddess Lakshmi, some angels. Buddha is mentioned. Actually, we have two versions of Buddha.
Yeah. So yeah, because we thought it's a festival of light. So it's really the symbolism of the light of wisdom that dawns within. So once it is within, outside also becomes full of light. So we just spontaneously brought everything together and wanted to have this for our Diwali celebrations. So that's all.
Yeah, no, and actually you also realize by studying the esoteric meaning of the festivals that every religion has a kind of festival that is there to bring the light that we have inside, to overcome the evil and the so it's actually present in every religion, and of course it's totally related with the second objective of the Theosophical Society, that every religion, philosophy, and science have the same ground, have a common ground. So, and it's part also of the kind of experience that we have here at home, because we are from different countries, different cultures, different religious backgrounds, but also a little bit from everything. And Theosophy has brought us that possibility also.
Yes, cultural diversity. I think that it's expressed there and in the temple. But you know, there is something that I truly would like you to share with us. And that is because I was most impressed when I learned the way that you met each other and the challenges you went through to be together. So could you share with us that story, please?
I think the smile on our faces would express everything, but I would request Catalina to share.
Okay, I'll begin because actually I have been part of the translation team of the Theosophies from English to Spanish. We have been doing that work since 2007, maybe. So monthly, I used to get 1-2 articles to translate into Spanish. And then one day in December 2016, I received an article written by Shikhar Agnihotri. So I just went and translated. That name, for some reason, resonated in my mind in such a different way. I don't know, because I had translated many articles from many people from different places of the world. You know, the Theosophies is an international magazine. But that name kept in my mind. But of course, as I had maybe the prejudice that India, normally members of TS are a little bit old age. So I imagine he was like a senior member of Theosophical Society, not only because that prejudice, but also because the deepness and the beauty of the article were amazing. I was amazed by this article, really. I cannot forget all the things that I could take from that article. So, okay, that name just kept going on in my mind. Then in January 2017, after the convention, a international WhatsApp group was created. So due to some contacts I had been added, I was added to that group. Suddenly I saw a member that used to participate a lot, and his name was Shikhar Agnihotri. So I said, oh my God, what is he doing here if this is a job forum? But okay, let's see. And he used to, so I decided I was going to publish the article in the Theosophical magazine from Colombia, of which I am the editor, as you mentioned. So I said, okay, I will tell him, I will share this information with him because, okay, he must like that I am publishing his article into Spanish. And so basically that was the way we met. From them, we began to exchange messages. I came to know that he was also a youth member of TS. And then some emails due to the fact that I sent him the article. And then from one moment to the other, those conversations became a daily routine. And it was like always waiting for the moment that he will wake up or I will wake up to say good morning and have a very nice conversation. Always that affinity was there. So this is like a big synthesis of all the things.
Yeah, and I think the common thing between us that none of us wanted to get married before we met each other. But the same common thing when we met, and as Catalina explained, we came in touch, and first of all, I am thankful to have met such a wonderful person like her, to have in my life, enriching my life to the divine plan. And I think the first, our relationship already started from a certain level, because first and foremost challenge of a relationship is trust. And in today's world, when there are so many online scams and all those things are happening around the world, it is very difficult to, have trust between two people who have not even met. And in that, I think the common background of TS, the Theosophical Society, and the way we met, we came in contact, played a very significant role. That the first foundation, we already had a mutual trust and openness and sharing with open heart. So that challenge was already crossed. The next challenge was how, okay, so let us, and I think both of us share love of adventure. So that, and trust in life. So that's when we decided that, okay, let's spend our life together. And then the whole process of how to get together started. Of course, it was not a simple process, including, inter-country travels and all the financial arrangements. But I think at about that time, I think all these small steps were like a sign from the divine or from nature that this is going to happen. That ATA, the Adyar Theosophical Academy, was about to be opened. So, and I knew that Catalina was a lecturer, and teaching was her passion. So I requested Catalina, why don't you apply for Adyar Theosophical Academy? And she applied, and of course, she was selected there. And then that was the opening of her to come to India and us to get together. And most importantly, I think it's not just us coming together, it's us coming together to Adyar, which was a dream, but I don't know when, on both the sides, but it could fructify only when certain planetary situations or combinations were there. And so we are really grateful that it happened. And yes, it took some efforts on both sides, and time and planning. And yes, the inner impulse was there, family support was there, but it also required planning, which we tried to do whatever we could. Some things are beyond your control, so you have to just let them be. Otherwise, we are here.
Yeah, but I really agree in the sense that the trust in the divine plan is, and it's something that, okay, we, for some moments, of course, we felt impotent, will be possible, won't be possible. But I have, and I guess both of us had that feeling that once we just said, okay, what has to happen will happen. Let's put it into the universe, and the universe will answer if it is meant to be. And then things automatically began to happen. As Shikhar said, it was not like everything was very colorful and perfect. Of course, a lot of decisions had to be made, a lot of things had to be done, but everything was put in place in the moment. So I think it's also like a life lesson that we had in the sense that just trust in the higher forces. And
yeah, and it's very interesting that you felt attracted to his name unconsciously. You felt. By the way, what's the name of the article you mentioned? Do you remember it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me try to remember it in English. Theosophy for the Future. Listening to the March of the Future.
All right. So if anyone wishes to read the article, where they can find it?
A guilty article.
The Theosophist, yeah.
The Theosophist. What year? You do remember?
September 2000. I guess the article was published in September 2016. I only received it by December, but I guess it was September 2016.
Okay. I'm gonna read it for sure. I'm curious now. So, have you learned yet, Catalina, to speak Tamil?
That means no.
No?
No, some words. Actually, Tamil is a completely different language from what we are used to. Like if you listen to Hindi, you can feel that it's an Indo-European language. So there are even some words that are similar. But Tamil is another universe. And also the fact that on one side we are in the school where the teaching language is English, and that the pandemic also came, so we were a little bit more isolated of the social scene. I mean, being in contact with people. That of course had an influence, but it's not an excuse. I mean, Tamil.
I knew how to count until 10. I knew how to say a few words, and I never forgot Nandri. And I thought Nandri was water. I told Catalina, Nandri is water, isn't it, Catalina? And then it is thank you, she told me, I think, isn't it? And then I told her, okay, if I was around Chennai asking for water, saying Nandri, I would die of thirsty.
But of course, people will think you are a very grateful person.
Yeah. Anyway. And how is your daughter adapting there? Did she learn Tamil at all? Does she can speak the local language?
You mean, can you please repeat the question? Yeah.
Yeah. How is Luna adapting there?
Oh, I think she has done a wonderful work on herself, and of course, subconsciously. But in the beginning, yes, the extreme hot weather conditions and the food that was available here was a bit of concern, and of course, the language in the school. But gradually now, after 2.5 years, we find that she is speaking way better English than maybe some of us. And also she is learning Tamil and Hindi, and she is beginning to like the food here also. So that is really wonderful thing. And she is also enjoying here. That's very important, that she is liking the place. Of course, Adyar is a wonderful place, but even when we go out and meeting people and learning some of the Indian cultural things, so she is a very sociable person. So I think she is doing great.
Fantastic. So, could you tell me how you first came in contact with Theosophy? You can begin, Shikhar, perhaps Shikhar, could begin with you and move to Catalina. Yeah.
Okay, in this life?
Wow, do you remember any past one?
Yeah, that's what I will limit to this life only, because I have no recollection of any past life. But I'm also thankful in this sense to my mom, Vasumati Agnihotri ji, due to whom I came in contact with Theosophy and Theosophical Society, because she has been a long-term member of TS. And even the very inspiring thing about her was that many times people come to this path when after, in the old age, or after they have retired from their job and something, then they have time for doing all these things. But she was very active, and even founding a Theosophical lodge at our home, so where we used to live. So every week there was a lodge meeting happening. So she was doing all this even while doing her job. So she was a working woman. So along with her job, how with such balance she was doing this, and a lot of TS literature was available at home. And whenever she used to visit to attend any study camp, in some of the places like Varanasi or Adyar or Bawali. So she used to take us also. So she made us also the members of TS for that purpose. So we used to go with her and enjoy the places, meet new people. And that's how I came into touch with Theosophical Society. But strangely, I started reading J. Krishnamurti first. And later on, after a while, when I voluntarily left my job, then I started reading theosophical literature, I mean, from HPB or any Besant and other writers. Then I started reading in depth, and then trying to work upon myself, and the journey is still continuing.
Catalina, your turn. Thank you, Shikhar.
I also am thankful to my parents for this contact, not properly with the Theosophical Society, that contact came later, but with all this theosophical wisdom. Since my very early childhood, I remember my father sitting in the sofa, reading a book with a very strange name, The Secret Doctrine. And that was like full of mystery for me. And then when I used to go and he used to put the book on the table, I used to go and take a look. And in the first page, there was a picture of this lady with such a deep eyes. So that was like all an enigma for me. And her figure was very attractive to me. That was one of the dimensions. And the other was, okay, of course, later I came to know that this lady was Elena Petrovna Blavatsky, which I really admire and love with all my heart, and thanks to her for bringing theosophy to Western world. And on the other side, I also remember my mom and me used to discuss the daily things. I used to come from school and tell mom the troubles, and she always used to give me so spiritual and wise advices. And she also started like a kind of a club book in our house, in which we used to sit together and read the Bhagavad Gita and comment. Of course, my parents used to comment. I used to listen. Of course, at that age, sometimes I was very small. I was maybe 7 years old kid. I don't remember exactly. And maybe I was not able to understand everything, but I remember the feeling of hearing to all those stories was amazing. And I kind of felt that was more than just a story. And then I remember my father was a musician, and he had a colleague, Julita Ballesteros, who was a very important member in the TS in Colombia. She died at the beginning of this year. And they, and the musical events, they used to meet and they used to talk about Theosophical Society, because in the book, in the Secret Doctrine, the Theosophical Society was mentioned, and she was a member of Theosophical Society. And then they used to say, okay, we have to go to the Theosophical Society and meet the people and be involved, but for some reason that never happened. Then some years later, when I was finishing my school, my mom and me were having lunch in a vegetarian restaurant, and we met her again. So this time we took the address from the Theosophical Society, and we used to go there, but at that time, the Theosophical Society was not very active, so we went a lot of times, and never never anyone was there to open the door. So again, we said, okay, this is maybe not the moment. And finally, in a Christmas party that we attended with a friend, a very special friend from us, Julita was there. And this time, she invited us to the, every year there is a course of introduction to Theosophical philosophy. Then she said, okay, this time you are going to come. Then we came, we attended the entire course. 2 months later, my father died, sadly, but my mother and me stayed. And that was in 2003. And since then, from that moment on, we began to attend the meetings and never again left the Theosophical Society. Actually, we were very happy of that. Yes.
Yeah, so you have a family history, both of you, through your parents, isn't it? And the lodge that you mentioned, Shikhar, is it that Matri, the Matri Lodge?
No. That actually the Pragya Lodge in Lucknow, that was.
Oh, it's Pragya. Oh,
but that was founded recently in 2014. But the lodge that I'm talking about, what my mother founded or revived, was in 1990s. In the another city in which he was working and we were living at that time, I was around 14 years old or something like that. So, I mean, yeah, that was a very good environment. And as Catalina said, that they were trying to apply in their life. So you learn more from the actions than the words. So you see that they may be getting something. So it's that arises your curiosity and interest in all those things.
Thank you. Now, beginning with Catalina, name someone who is living, a theosophist, someone from the Theosophical movement, part of the Theosophical movement, who has inspired you most.
Okay, certainly I have had the good chance and karma of get in touch with very inspiring theosophists from different countries of the world, but actually the person that has had a big influence and inspiration for me since the moment we found Theosophical Society is Gabriel Burgos. Gabriel Burgos was the person in charge of giving that course to Introduction to Theosophy. He has been doing that for the past 30, 40 years of his life. Every year, 2 times a year. Now he has done online due to the pandemic limitations. So I remember when I saw him the first time, I will be never able to forget the feeling that I had when I saw him. He was just that kind of person that you feel that is surrounded by light. And I guess that light that he emanates is because he is a real living example of theosophy. He is the kind of person that puts in practice every single thing that he studies. He has a very wide knowledge of theosophy. It's amazing. It's amazing. But he goes beyond that. He really lives theosophy. So it's that kind of persons that only the fact of being in touch with him transforms you completely. Then you listen to him and even more, I mean, because he has a simple way to explain complex concepts, etc. So not only due to that, of course, he has given lectures, written articles, books, translation. He was, thanks to him, many people from many Spanish-speaking countries have been able to access some English texts of theosophy, and also they have been inspired by him. He has been member of the Theosophical Society for more than 60 years. And he has not only been a practitioner of theosophy, but also a worker. He has also been like in the board of the Theosophical Society, many things. So now he is 96 years old, and he is full of life. I mean, you cannot believe that he is 96 years old, not only because he makes daily yoga and makes things that I am unable to do at my age, and he does, but also because I guess he keeps the spirit with the practicing of open mind. He's a person with an completely open mind, and he is ready to serve and to help whenever it is needed. So it's amazing how all his service, all his work has transformed generations of theosophists in Colombia, and I am sure I can say without any doubt in Latin America. So he is like a father, theosophical father for me, and I have to be very grateful to him also because I got in touch with Theosophical Society in 2003, but of course, as a young, I was studying literature, so I had this kind of, I was a little bit of rebel, but I felt so attracted by Theosophy, and I found that so many things there. And he was, since the beginning, always ready to listen, ready to be there. And he was one of the persons that, how do you say, made me go to become a member of the Theosophical Society. So
Thank you. Yeah, that's very interesting, Catalina. Now, Shikhar, I do have a question for you, because I asked Catalina before if she had learned Tamil. Have you learned Spanish?
Oh, poco.
Un poquito.
Poquito.
Okay, all right. So now tell us, share with us, who is the person who most inspired you, Shikhar?
First of all, I agree with Catalina that although I have not met Don Gabriel personally, but even meeting with him online is so, you feel so much peace just meeting him. And of course, I would say that there are a lot of wonderful people all around that I have the fortune of meeting them, but if we go on describing everyone, it will be a very long list. So I would share one person who was coincidentally the reason for my mother to join TS, because she was so inspired by him that just to meet him and his study camps, she became the member. And later on, due to my mother only, I was able to come in touch with him. And his name was, because he left his body about 10 years back, his name was Swami Anand. And although he was an ascetic who has became a Swami, but there were actually many stories that were there about him, but some of the, I don't know anywhere written it found, but what I can completely relate to that he disappeared in his childhood for a couple of years. He went to Himalayas, and some people say that he was the direct disciple of one of the inner founders whom we know as the masters who inspired the foundation of Theosophical Society. And those who had the opportunity to be with him experienced many phenomena which we often call miracle, but it's not because of those phenomena that I got so inspired by him. It's because of the small things, his humility and ever readiness to not take the credit for anything and to follow the theosophical discipline or principles to the T. I mean, he could have been easily become one of the modern age gurus. If we put it in those terms, he could have very easily become that and made, but he inspired people instead to join Theosophical Society and study theosophy. And one of the instances by how he taught people through his life was my mother. I mean, also was a kind of adventurous, is this kind of adventurous person. So there is a tradition in India to touch the feet of the saints or respected or elders to take their blessings. So she also wanted to touch his feet, but he always said no, I mean to everyone, not to touch his feet for whatever esoteric reasons or occult reasons or whatever reason. So then one other person was trying to touch his feet. So my mother wanted to, put the case strongly so that she will also get the opportunity. So she said that if somebody wants to touch your feet because he looks divinity manifested in you, why don't you allow the people to touch your feet? So he said, why only in me? Why only in me you see the divinity and not in everyone else? So this is nothing special. If you see divinity in everyone, then everyone becomes reverential for you. And if I don't know if you have heard the name of Himalayan Institute of Theosophical Society in Bhavali, which is a retreat, that was his place for where he did a lot of his meditation, and he used to go in samadhis, the transcendental state, for 15 days, 20 days in a small room that he had for himself, and then there were some caretakers who used to take care of him. So, but the thing is, and from time to time, he just used to say one sentence that will, you know, catch your attention, and you, if you think over it, you will get some answer to your question. He will never give the answers directly. He will always say some things or do something which will provoke you to work on yourself. And after all of these things, he still chose to be just called a student of theosophy. Never, nothing more than that. And I think that spirit of putting theosophical principles in daily life was really what inspired me. And although I don't succeed many times, most of the time, but I try to put it that way.
There is a okay, I don't know if they call him fun fact, but a very beautiful coincidence is that before he became a Swami, his name was also Shikhar. That is so beautiful.
So are you planning to become a Swami in any future
No.
time of your life? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No.
I think that the wonderful examples. I mean, names. It's a pity that you don't have their pictures to share with us. It would have been very nice, if you could have given a face to them. Would you like to say something, Shikhar? Yeah.
Actually, he was also very not in favor of publishing his photographs. I think this is one of the things, I don't know why, because of many. If we read the many these books of autobiography of a yogi and all these saints, I think they avoid being pictured, because I think as many pictures and photos are spread, a lot of thought forms are generated from people, and maybe they affect their work in some way. So very rarely, by chance, my mother, I mean, we had one photograph which was very safely kept. I have it. Maybe I'll share it with you later sometime. And yeah.
Thank you.
Because the point to publish the photography is because people tend to identify with the external figure and maybe kind of worship that personality. Actually, that is.
Well, that's a personal choice of a teacher, someone who is living a spiritual life, and for the magnetism also that may interfere with them. We know all that as theosophists, but for most sure, you had Catalina picture from this senior member of the TS in Colombia, but that's no problem. We can Google and then we can see it. Now, what impact did theosophy had in your lives? So now let's begin with Shikhar.
Well, I would say it had and it continued to have the great impact, in the sense that it has opened, or it has widened the vision. The way that we approach life is complete. I would say, it's completely changed, and it continuously changes as and when you go deeper and deeper in the philosophy of theosophy. I mean, through whatever books. It's not just only theosophical literature as published by Theosophical Society, by any other spiritual books, that all of them are trying to tell, it's like the art of living and the science of life. So once we begin to see each and every event that is happening from a positive aspect, then I think immediately a lot of sense of a struggle or sense of a stress disappears. And it helps one person to deal with these situations in a much calmer way and a much better way. So in that way, I would say that, yes, whatever I have studied till date and whatever I try to, and whatever life has taught, that's the principles, that the teachings that we study in theosophy are not just theory. It is actually there, out there. It is really happening, especially what I experienced in our case, that many of the things happen which we didn't hope for, which we were not expecting, but they happened for good also, and there were some challenges also. So I just would simply say that it has at least given me or opened my eyes wider to see at the things differently in a positive manner.
Yeah, just a minute, Catalina. One question more. So you said in your bio, Shikhar, that you stopped working with your field, or in your professional field, which is now nautic science, to live, let's say, because of your inner call. So could you elaborate on that a little on that, please?
Yeah, I am actually graduate in science, in nautical science, and I completed my degree from Mumbai University, and then I got selected in one of the shipping companies from America. So I was going around on ships, merchant ships, and for about 10 years, and then although I was doing it, but still this thought or this feeling within that no matter what you have or how much you have, life is very uncertain, or there is no security in so-called security in life. Even a person who has a lot of wealth, a lot of comforts or luxuries, even they are suffering from the same stress, hypertension, or discontentment, or hatred, jealousy, and all those things. So there should be some other way, that although maybe your resources are limited, but your state of mind should be at peace. And fortunately, being in this part of the world, there has been a lot of, India is called the land of seekers. So that hereditarily it comes that, no, there is another way, that in which you have to turn within. And I think that somebody said it is the longest journey to the nearest destination to find yourself. So, and that is the only way to arrive at that state of equilibrium of being. So that's when, after doing 10 years of job, I thought that, okay, God has been kind, and at least I had for whatever, whatever basic needs we plan in life. So, okay, let's try to go the other side. And thus I voluntarily retired from my work. And then I started studying theosophical literature deeper, and then going deeper and deeper on, and then just going with the flow.
Thank you. And you, Catalina, I have met you at the Theosophical campus in Brasilia, Brazil. I think you were living and working there for some time. So you left Colombia to Brazil, and then after, I don't know if you went somewhere else, but eventually you were back to Colombia, and now you are at the international headquarters. Obviously, theosophy had an immense impact in your life, not only theoretically, but also practical. Your life has changed in a number of ways because of your contact with theosophy. Could you share with us what is the impact theosophy had in your life, please?
as you said, the access to this wisdom, this divine wisdom has completely changed my life. And without any doubt, getting in contact with theosophy constitutes one of the most fundamental events in my life. That is totally sure, because it allowed me not only to confirm many of the intuitions that I had as a child, like reincarnation and all the things that we study. I kind of had those feelings in me, and then when I read in the theosophical literature, I immediately could relate to that. But also because it broadened my understanding of the meaning of the countless events in life, as Shikhar was saying, no? It gives you a sense of relief and a sense of balance. Everything in the universe has a perfect place, has a perfect balance, and you are able to understand better these events in life that if you didn't have this kind of knowledge, will be a very hard life. I mean, you will be questioning why me, why this, why life is so unfair. But once you get to understand the theosophical teachings, you realize that we are the builders of our own destiny. And that everything that happens is not because God has want to punish us or someone is mean to us, but because we have put the causes. But in the same way, that gives you the possibility to build your life and the life of humanity, because when you realize that everyone is one, all of us are one, then you become more responsible of your actions, of your thoughts, of everything in life. Everything gets a more deeper significance. And it's like life becomes a garden in which you can see the beauty, but also you can see the small, important details, delicate details, that is the way you have to live the life. So I am very grateful of having found this path. And also, apart from this, Theosophy has allowed me, as you said, to be in touch with other cultures, with people, wonderful, inspiring people from around the world, to learn other languages, to meet again so many sister and brother souls in the path, including, of course, Shikhar, and many good things had happened due to the contact with Theosophy. So for me, Theosophy is the root of all the wisdom and the most valuable jewel. And also gives me the sense that how it's important that you can fulfill your Dharma in order to make a difference in this world by the transformation of your own self. So basically, is that.
So, what you guys have been doing during the pandemic?
Okay.
Well, that smile.
Oh, well, there have been a lot of activities. Of course, we haven't stopped our work. We are in the school. Okay, Shikhar has continued the work, and I also, Shikhar here in the headquarters, I have continued the school work online with the children. That, of course, has opened a wide possibilities of interaction with these children and overcome so many challenges. It has been, in that sense of teaching, a very rich experience, because we have learned, we have had to apply all these learnings, not only in the intellectual sense, but also in the spiritual sense. And I am amazed how the children, they adapt to everything, and they have responded so well to everything. So that's one of the things that we have done during the pandemic. We have been trying to learn. Shikhar's mother language is Hindi, mine is Spanish. So we have been trying to exchange a little bit of language learning among us, at least to be able to communicate in a basic way whenever we meet our families, because our families are, okay, Shikhar's family understand English, but of course it's better to talk in the native language, and my mother cannot understand English very well. So of course that learning of Hindi and Spanish, and of course family time. And here in the Theosophical Society there is a piano, and we have been I have had the opportunity to teach Yuna and Shikhar a little bit of piano, and I have found how talented both of them are for the musical instrument, and that is so great to see how they are learning, and etc. And as you mentioned, also we have created Pragya CS Studio channel, a YouTube channel, which I guess Shikhar will comment a little more about that, because that was like our pandemic project. Yuna used to say that Pragya CS Studio is her little brother, because it's like a beautiful thing that has born during the pandemic period. Although the thought was there from a long time back, but I guess during the pandemic was like the moment where everything got together to create it.
Yeah, it's although a lot of things which are not so pleasurable happened during the pandemic, but I think it also gave everyone an opportunity to reassess our priorities in life and to be grateful what we already have. And although in that sense it did not affect much us, because Catalina's school was still continuing online. So, and my office here also in the admin building we were going regularly because it was essential work. And except for a few days here and there, when it was like complete lockdown, nothing was happening. And apart from the family time and language learning and music learning, one thing that we did a lot of experiment was cooking. So we tried our cooking skills and tried to do a lot of recipes, and because I think cooking is a very important aspect of the life. So we did that. Intercultural cooking. And yes, Pragya CS Studio, I think, was directly the result of this pandemic, because before also we had this thought that, you know, we should do something and to put things in a way that to reach more people and to share the teachings of Theosophy in simple language and many languages to reach more people. But somehow it didn't happen. But when this pandemic started for the first time in 2020, March, and there was like complete lockdown, and the work, hers was summer vacation, and my office was half day for a month or so. So in May, we started planning and working, and then the thought became so strong that it was almost irresistible to manifest it. So then we started working on it and did a lot of research and how to do things and all those effort. And then finally in May 2020, we started this channel, not for actually with much expectation, but just because it's like delivering a baby, like or like a poet writes a poem, not because he has to become famous, but I mean, he cannot resist writing it, delivering the poem, because it's coming so strongly. So that's how it came out, and we just started doing small things, and then we tried to see what is actually, in what way we can best reach to people and share with people. And with every step, we learned a lot. We made some mistakes, we corrected them, and we're still learning many things. And in the same, you want to say about Jigyasa?
Okay, because I guess every time this kind of impulse, inspiration gets stronger. So a lot of ideas come here, and then we try to realize them in the possibilities. So one of the recent project of Pragya Studio is called, you say the word because I'm not very good with Sanskrit.
Jigyasa.
Jigyasa.
That is inquiry.
So one of the ideas is to open like a portal of questions and answers that we want to open like for people that have doubts or queries regarding specifically theosophical thought or spirituality in general, to put their question depending on the language. Okay, the language can be English, Hindi, Spanish, Portuguese, or French, and they can put the question, and we will try to research and give not an answer, but at least a hint of where to begin to search the answer, or our own, share our own research, and of course open maybe the advice for literature or authors that can help that person that is making the question. So it's a project that is burning now, as well as a couple of projects that we have a little bit now in standby because now convention is there also, but this is like a living being, Pragya Studio. We started with, as he was saying, with the small things, but now each time is having more branches and more branches, and is blossoming very beautifully.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and how do you plan to continue the work of the studio after the pandemic is over? Do you plan to keep on doing meetings every weekend? Have you thought about it? Not yet.
Yeah, you are right on the point, because that has been the point of discussion for some time now, that because now the situation is that it looks like by next year, maybe like, let's say January, February, March, it would be almost normal, back to normal. So what to do in that case? So, okay, we still have the programs until February planned online, but we are still taking some time to decide that how to take it forward, because it has, actually we didn't expect it to reach to this, even this stage, that people would appreciate the content, but now it is. So we will try to find a way to continue serving the queries, or by lectures or some interactive manner, in whatever way possible. How frequently, whether weekly or or fortnightly, that is still to be, we have to discuss and decide. Yeah.
But you are doing a wonderful, truly wonderful work with the studio, and congratulations to both of you, really. Now, could you share with us what has touched or inspired you most in the theosophical world in general? An experience, please. For example, a friend of mine once met John Coates, who was the international president of the TES, and you know, he was hosted at her home, and he was like 1 hour trying to free a butterfly, you know, trapped in the house. So this was an experience very touching for her. She never forgot it. Do you have any experience or something that you have witnessed happening that have touched you and you would like to share with us?
Okay, I have, okay, not personally, no, because no, I have not personally come across. I have come across some instances like that in relation to Swami Anand, but about whom I have already talked, but I would like to mention about the former international president, Dr. Radha Bernier, that I heard, I mean, not so when she was not so in such an old age earlier, that she was conducting a study camp, I think in Varanasi or at some place. And the class time was about 10-15 minutes. No, sorry, it was in the international convention. Yeah. In Adyar, that it was some session was about to start, and people were already seated. And then I think the time was already there, but she did not arrive. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, still not arrived. But then somebody came out, and what they saw was she was arranging the footwears of the people who left them in a very haphazard manner outside while entering the hall. And she was arranging that so that at least it looks like, I mean, when we talk about awareness, we can listen or give a very good lecture on awareness or how to be very aware of all our actions. But it comes to these small things that, yeah, we are talking about awareness. Are we really aware while leaving our shoes or footwears while entering the hall? So normally what you see is like all the shoes and things are like mixed up and haphazard way. So that struck in my mind, and I thought, wow, that's a really very strong action, more than a lecture, to tell somebody that how to be aware of a small thing. So that is I still remember that, and I think I heard it many years before. And as you said, actually, it suddenly came up in my mind. So I was really inspired by that.
Thank you. Catalina, do you have an experience you would like to share?
Yes. I was trying to find in my memory, and yeah, something came to my mind. Bogota is a big city, so sadly there are a lot of people in condition of homeless. And Theosophical Society, the Theosophical Society is located in a very central place, and we have a big, it's a beautiful house. It's a very, very, very beautiful house, and it has the hall where we do the meetings, like the theater. It has a direct entry from the outside, from the street. So it's not like you go inside. There are two entries, one like for the rooms of meetings and one directly for the room. And sometimes it used to happen that some homeless people used to be there. We used to give some snack or something, and used to be just there in the door, standing up, listening to what has been said, and maybe being offered some food, etc. And it was very beautiful, the fact that the people that were there, of course, maybe some couple of exceptions, but in general, the attitude was like a very natural attitude. Normally, the natural reaction is you will feel afraid, or this person is going to do something, maybe. But no, I guess that was a real thing of fraternity, because he was just there, listening to the lecture, sharing the snack, and everyone was like completely fine, offering him the snack, inviting him even to attend the lectures. And I remember the person said something like, wow, I feel here, welcome us in my home, something like that. I don't remember the exact words, but that was the idea. So actually for me, that was it had a very big impact in me, because all the prejudice always can lead you to be afraid and maybe reject or don't allow the person even to approach the place. But it was completely different, because I guess that sense of fraternity.
Thank you, Catalina, for sharing that. Now, very briefly, because we are already 1 hour talking, and we can be, for many hours talking. How do you deal with disappointments and challenges? Shikhar, over to you.
Okay, yeah, very shortly, I think we have already actually expressed that theosophy is like when you study it, it gives you all those insights into the working of life that if you really start believing in them, trusting yourself in divine plan, and knowing that no effort is lost, and whatever happens, happens for the best, then whatever comes in life, and as Catalina said in our meeting also, we were completely aware that we are trying for this. If it happens, it's good. If it does not happen, maybe it's not in the divine plan also. So if we have that kind of attitude in life, but that does not mean that we don't make complete effort. So whatever we are doing, we make effort, but we also ready for, because the fruits, as in Bhagavad Gita we study, that action is in your control, but the fruit of it is not in your control. So if that is the approach, I think all disappointment, challenges just disappear.
Catalina?
Okay, I will adhere to Shikhar's words and I will just add something, which I used to think since I was very young and I tried to apply. If the problem, challenge, or whatever it is has a solution, then don't worry, just try to find the solution. If it doesn't have a solution, then don't worry, just accept it because it does not have a solution. So don't waste your energy in that. That's basically what I would like to order what Shikhar said.
There are a lot of comments on the YouTube channel. We will have a look on them. But I do have a last question for you. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Well, yes. Okay, I guess since I have had this passion for education and now I am involved with ATA, I will really encourage people to get more in touch with this kind of education. And a dream that I have is if in every place on earth that is a Theosophical Society can be a Theosophical school, this world will be a better world very soon. Also, I think to keep always in mind the freedom of thought and openness of mind, which is one of the big jewels of theosophy. And also to, as we know by theosophical studies, the forms adapt to the consciousness in the evolution. So we should adapt also the ways to spread theosophy in order to reach new generations. Basically, I guess these three things I will add.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to read some of the comments on YouTube. Abam Patel is saying that it's wonderful to share some glimpses of both, to learn, to know, to get to know better Catalina and Shikhar. Blessings. Greetings from Buenos Aires, from Liliana Valle. Jose Luis from Bolivia says that he's happy to know something more about this lovely couple. You work in favor of the high principles of the TS, are bringing results. Abam Patel says, Shikhar, you have taken a bold step to relinquish your job and earnings for the pursuit of theosophy. And that's true.
And Catalina too, because I think before coming here, she was doing a very great, very big job. And that was really a big financial decision for her also to take. And I am really grateful and really respect her for this big sacrifice that she has done for being here. Thank you.
But the etymology of sacrifice is
to make sacred.
Make sacred. So it was
yeah, the Jayananda. Yeah. Jayananda is saying that, let me see, nice to hear some words of wisdom from both of you. Well, there is a lot of comments. Jayananda is saying again that your statement that the pandemic has led to reassessment of priorities is profound. For some people, it opens up opportunities to live more and so on. So there are more comments there. If you'd like to, you can read them later on. So we're about to close. Thank you so much for being here with me and with us today, sharing a little of your experiences and your journey with us. And you are a beautiful couple, and it has been truly an honor to share this hour with both of you.
The honor is ours to be here with you. Such a hard worker. You also are doing an amazing job with all the endeavors that you are taking at the moment. Really, you are an example and an inspiration for us. And it was so nice to have this talk to you. I was feeling like at home. Like
thank you so much.
With my family.
Thank you. We are closing the live now, so for everyone watch us.